digital nomads, expats, adventure seekers. This is the Living Unconventionally podcast, episode 216. My name is Chris Piak and I'm your host. Today we meet Lydia Krüger, and Lydia takes us on a round trip. We start in Berlin in a meeting room where for 4 hours people talk a lot of Manure, and then we join her journey from becoming a game publisher to becoming a professional writer, and we end up in Thailand in a stable where we shovel a lot of elephant manure. Let's get on the road. On the phone with me now is Lydia Krüger. I want to talk with another Lydia Krüger, with the Lydia Krüger 10 years ago. Monday, 2 p.m. 4 hours is lots of time. Did you sometimes daydream what you would like to do in that very moment when again they would go on and on and on without doing anything useful? If you're honest.
Yeah, just like my colleagues, I would have liked to work, actually. I mean, I felt like I'm wasting my time, and I would have liked to get stuff done or even talk to the other department heads. We didn't succeed because it was so ingrained in the culture that we didn't manage to get like a real exchange between. Because the funny thing is, I would have had a lot to talk with each of these people. You know, I had a lot of things in my head that I wanted to talk about with them, but I couldn't because there was this ritualized presentation going on.
So that was Lydia Krüger 10 years ago. It's again Monday. It's again 2 p.m. How do you feel now, Lydia?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling relaxed. I started working this morning at 10, and now I just got back from my break, eating a soup. So, it's a totally different life now.
Mm-hmm. What made it so different for you?
Right now, I feel like I regain my independency, I regained my freedom, I regained my identity, which was probably the biggest part for me because I felt that I had to adapt so much to this culture that wasn't really the corporate culture, that wasn't really my kind of culture, that now I feel like I'm myself again.
Mm-hmm. And tell us a little bit, let us see a little bit, where are you right now? How is your work environment? How are your colleagues, and why is it now so much more fulfilling for you?
I actually work from home. So I've got a little office here with a big desk and a laptop. And a lot of times I also work on the sofa, I have to admit, which is not good for your back. I don't recommend it, but sometimes it just feels cozy to work on the sofa. So I don't really have colleagues. I have other freelancers that I cooperate with. I have clients. Sometimes I meet people for lunch whenever I feel like it. But most of the time I'm by myself, which is, being an introvert, it's my preferred way of working, which I didn't realize before, by the way.
That's actually interesting because you worked in the corporate world for a long time.
I've always worked in teams, and I think I was a pretty good team player, but I didn't realize how much energy it cost me. And I'm only realizing this now that I work by myself and I can funnel my energy into my work instead of having to, pay attention to everybody else.
Mm-hmm. What are you working on right now? I mean, the one thing that you're working on that makes your eyes shine right now.
Well, that would probably be my blog. My blog is still central to my work, even though it's not really the thing that I make money with. But yeah, my blog Büronymous.de is where I write about the workplace. I write about corporate culture, about hierarchies, hierarchical organizations, how the way we work is changing.
Mm-hmm. If you speak German, you should definitely check it out, Büronymous.de. It's very refreshing. I found you by accident, I think, on Twitter or so, several years ago by now. I started reading and immediately I started laughing because your description of the work reality was so spot on. I think so many people can empathize with with all these empty rituals that you described, with all this no sense behavior. And so I really felt connected to it.
Yes, and there's a very good interview with you on it as
Oh,
well.
right. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Which is also very spot on and quite fresh, actually.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we have you 10 years ago in this job that didn't fulfill you, where you wasted hours in endless meetings. And I think all of us who are listening, we can completely empathize with this situation. And now we meet you, you work independently, you work with freelancers, you can sit on the sofa if you like, and you don't have to get to a meeting with HR because they are concerned about your back. You can decide this all on your own. What was the point when you said, okay, enough, this is really enough, I need to change something?
The point for me was actually, now that I've started studying psychology, I can tell you exactly what it was. It was the cognitive dissonance that I just couldn't handle it anymore, because there were some values that I stand for and some ideas that are important to me, and I just couldn't get the corporate culture and my values match anymore, So there was a point, of course, this was a gradual process. It was not that I woke up and said, yeah, I'm going to quit now. It took me 8 years, actually. But at one point, I just realized that I am compromising my identity, my health, my well-being. So I decided to quit.
So that's 8 years in the making. I mean, this day when you actually handed in your note that you are leaving, that must have left quite an impression on you, or not? Do you remember this day?
I remember drafting the notice, because I haven't done this a lot in my life. I think I've quit once before. I mean, I was a freelancer in between, so I didn't. Oh yeah, wait, I quit twice before. Yeah, I quit all my. I'm just realizing this. I quit all my employed jobs by myself. Yeah.
But that's good, It's better to quit yourself than to get fired or so. It means that you are in control.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I think this moment, everything was already decided. So I was not excited because it took me so long. And when I finally sat down and I wrote the notice, I knew, okay, this is going to be the day, and it's going to be over soon.
Mm-hmm. And what did you feel the next morning when you woke up and realized, I don't have a job anymore?
I felt good, actually, because on one hand, this has been planned for a long time, and it has been on my mind for an even longer time. And also, of course, I had the possibility to save some money, so I wasn't gonna have to worry like the next couple of months or even a year about finding a job or doing something. And I had some vague ideas of what I could do. So yeah, I felt relieved.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about your journey since then. This is also already now, what did we say before, 4 or 5 years ago that you quit, something like that?
Yeah.
You have made quite a journey for yourself in this time. How did you start out, and tell us some of the adventures that you experienced along the way?
Okay, so the first thing I did was start a publishing house for games, gifts and games, Fonsky. This was really a crazy idea because it was basically an experiment, because I knew that I never wanted to be CEO and president of a publishing house and have employees or anything. I just felt this urge to be creative and to bring something out into the world, to produce something that you can touch. I started out making a card game. It's called Kampf der Abteilungen, Battle of Departments. And I did a crowdfunding for it, and didn't sell very well, I must say, to my big disappointment. And then I made the Totschlagargumente, which are killer phrases, 80 killer phrases in a little box, and those were my bestseller. So I'm still selling them.
What is the most popular one? Do you get some feedback on that?
I think the most important ones are, I'm going to translate this. We've always done it this way. Or we've never done it this way. Or anybody could ask for this, So if you start, this is very popular in Germany. If you're trying something new, or you're making an exception, then there's this fear that anybody can come and make the same demands. So these three were like the most popular killer phrases.
Yeah, that's funny because my next question would have been which one was the most German killer phrase, but I think you just answered it. That could also be a game, a Bedenkenträger. How to kill enthusiasm in 10 seconds.
Yeah, easy. Use the killer phrases. Yeah, so I started this. I had an online shop and I got the orders and I packed stuff and I sent it, and it was quite exciting for a while. And at the same time, I was blogging, and actually the blog was supposed to be accompanying the online shop, and so it was kind of like a side gig. But then it became bigger and bigger, and now I have 4,000 or 5,000 people reading the blog. So yeah, so it became like the central activity, and everything else is kind of around it.
Which is quite fitting because you are a writer by profession.
Yeah, I'm a writer. I used to work as a journalist, television journalist, and a PR person. And later I became spokesperson for this insurance. I've always enjoyed writing, and I kind of always come back to writing. I also write commercially. I'm as a copywriter for only for nice clients. Yeah, I work as a copywriter, and this is where the money comes in mostly. I also work for Zeit Online, which is one of the biggest publications in Germany, also on the topic of work, the workplace, corporate culture.
That's just one of your jobs.
Yeah.
Part-time job of you is also to be a farmhand.
Yeah, the thing is, I love to write, but I also like to work with my hands. And I have this problem that I haven't learned anything. I'm not really gifted with my hands, but I like to work. So I like both. A friend of mine asked me, or she told me that somebody in her family, they had horses, and when they go on vacation, they always have a problem. Who is going to take care of the horses and the other animals, a cat and whatever? So I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll go there and I can work on the computer, and in my time off, I can take care of the horses. That was such an amazing experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could switch between working with my head, with my brain, and working with my hands, like cleaning the stable and talking to the horses, whatever. And I loved it so much that I started to see where I can do this more often. And so I'm offering house sitting, pet sitting, farm sitting. So I get around because I also like to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And I get closer to nature, which is important because I live in Berlin, so right in the center of Berlin, so I don't see a lot of nature.
Mm-hmm. What was one of your favorite memories when you were like house sitting for someone?
I mean, I wouldn't even know what to name first because seeing the sunset and horses on the ranch is just amazing. I mean, for a city kid like me, it's totally exotic. Being with the animals and feeling their energy. And I now understand the whole animal therapy thing,
mm-hmm.
because they give you so much there just by being there and just by not doing anything, just by being there and accepting you and communicating with you. It's just
Mm-hmm.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Where I live, we live close to a wild park and to nature because we live at the corner of Düsseldorf. And we have this horse tracks. So whenever we go out for a walk, there's horses coming away. And you are right, there's just something about horses that immediately calms you down. No? So
Yeah.
they have like the gravity, because they are huge animals, it's like pulling you down and telling you to, okay, take a breath here, slow down.
Exactly.
So you were self-employed already. You had the games that you were selling, and then you drifted more and more into writing. How did this change your life for the better or for the worse?
You put it very well. I drifted towards writing because I wasn't sure I could actually make a living by writing. I tried copywriting for advertising agencies, and it didn't work out because it was too much bullshit for me. And one of the things that I learned, or one of the things that changed in my personality, is that after my last employed job, I'm just really allergic to bullshit. So advertising was not obviously where I belonged. But you can make a lot of money. I mean, that's the best paid way of making a living, by writing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I try to find my niches. I try to find nice clients that I enjoy working with. They enjoy working with me, and I do a lot of copywriting for the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And also for brochures. I mean, it's not classic advertising, but somebody needs to do all the writing and the internet, and yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, do you have like a test for potential clients, like the 5 things they have to meet in order to qualify for you?
I'm kind of doing the opposite. I'm scanning for weirdos. If I have a feeling that something's not right, and I mean, that's the thing when you're self-employed. I used to be self-employed when I was really young, and I was a lot more insecure, and I didn't have the experience. And now I can find out pretty quickly if a client is nice or not. Or sometimes you do one project, and then you find out, yeah, they're nice, but they're totally chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no fun working with them because they don't know. Their whole timeline is just on paper, and they never come around with their information and whatever. So then you do one project and you finish, and you don't work together again. So that's fine.
You like professional weirdos, not hobby weirdos.
Well, sometimes you have clients who have no idea what they want. I'm not into consulting anymore. I mean, I used to do consulting. I'm not doing it anymore. So if you have no clue, go somewhere else, because it's too much stress for me.
They can come to me.
Yeah.
That's what I do. This I must say, for me as someone who loves literature, who loves writing, this sounds very enticing. Mm-hmm. Especially to work with clients that you can relate to, who are a little bit weird and off the mainstream. That sounds like a very, very rewarding way of life. If any of our listeners think that, oh yeah, this would be something I would be interested in, what would be your most important tip how to get started? And how to choose to find work that not only feeds you, but that's also fulfilling. Because there's no point when you go and you want to live a unconventional lifestyle like we do, when you leave your standard job, just to end up in a freelance job where you do the same shit just for honorar instead of paycheck.
Yeah, there is a danger to that, of course, because you are tempted to repeat the patterns in your life, So one of my first clients, I've actually never talked about that before, I think, but the first client as a copywriter, as a freelance copywriter, was totally crazy. And I knew it before, but I thought I could handle it, and it was just killing me. And after a year, I mean, I've worked for her for a year, and after a year, I said, okay, sorry, but I can't do it anymore. It was worse than my employed job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was making less money, so it didn't make sense at all.
Yeah, that happens quite often, that the clients who drive you the most crazy are the ones with which you actually earn the least. So when you think about your best example, the most satisfying relationship you have with a client, interesting, inspiring work that you have, what defines that?
Most of those clients come because of recommendation, because they're referred to me. So I'm not even doing a lot. I mean, I have a website, of course, but I don't even do any advertising. I'm not doing anything. Those people come through other people I know, which is amazing because I'm an introvert and I don't really have a network. But the best clients really come through people who know you, and I don't really know why this is. Seems to be a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. What defines the work that it makes so rewarding for you? That you feel every day, oh, I can work on this again. How great is this? So.
Yeah, well, let's be realistic. I mean, I'm also doing work that I'm not really excited about just because I get
Oh,
paid.
come
But
on.
sorry.
What a sellout.
But yeah, I'm still a sellout. I'm working on it though. Yeah, but I mean, I don't work for causes that I don't support. I have the luxury of working for things that I'm interested in.
hmm
If you're writing about something, you need to understand what you're writing about, so you need to work yourself into the subject. I mean, I can do it if I'm not interested, but of course it's no fun at all. So this is something that I appreciate, that I'm even able to learn something,
hmm
you know.
Did you ever experience that you took a job where you thought like, okay, it will feed me? And then in the job, you found out that this topic is super fascinating and you were really surprised by that?
Yeah, actually, right now I'm working with a client, an IT company, and they are providing services for what's it called,
hmm
gastronomie.
Good questions. And for restaurants and stuff.
Yeah, for restaurants, and I didn't realize there was this whole huge industry. I mean, I didn't realize. I mean, of course, I knew there was this industry, but I didn't realize there was an IT behind it, and I didn't even realize there was so much money in it. So it's interesting.
hmm
It's like a hidden industry
hmm
without giving away too much about the client.
Obviously. So one of the benefits is we talked before we started recording a little bit that when you were selling the games, you had to be on location because someone needed to package the games and send it out and so. And as a writer, obviously, you can work pretty much anywhere. Take us with you on your journey so we can experience some of the places where you have been and what you experienced there. We already met you on your couch, and we know that's a cozy place for you to work. We were with you in the, was ist Stall auf Englisch?
Stable.
We were with you in the stable, feeding the horses. What were other exciting places that you traveled that you can recommend for us to see?
Okay. I like Thailand a lot, so I tried to shorten the winter by spending as much time as possible, which is mostly 4 to 5 weeks, mostly in January in Thailand.
hmm
Thailand is really easy to travel. Thailand is very versatile. You have the sea, you have mountains, elephants, talking about big, calming animals again.
And cleaning out their stable can take all day.
Yeah, they did have a stable, yeah, but we went on a trekking trip with 4 elephants.
I need to ask now,
Yeah.
Lydia, does this not take you back to your original job then? You spend 4 hours and in the end you end up with a pile of shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I can tell you, shoveling shit is one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done. I don't know why, but I think it's the movement, because it's so uplifting, You're lifting up the shit, sorry to say. And there must be something about this movement because it makes me really happy.
Yeah. And also you see the progress so well. You can put
Exactly.
the stable in quadrants and you see, okay, first quadrant, second quadrant, now I have 5, now I have three quarter, like with Momo, if you
Which
remember.
is a really German thing to do, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And you have a purpose. You're doing this for the animals, so you get an immediate reaction. I mean, it's not that they thank you, but they seem happy that they have a clean stable, So this is also very rewarding.
So if you're listening, this is one great holiday tip for you. Go to Thailand and shovel elephant shit.
Yeah, and in Thailand, I mean, there's a lot of co-working spaces, which I didn't use because I don't really see the point of sitting in an air-conditioned office in Thailand, when I could be at the beach or in a bar or in my bungalow on the terrace. I did have some problems with the Wi-Fi, to be honest. It's not as good. I mean, it's in many places in the world, it's better than in Germany. But if you get to smaller cities or near the beach, it can be quite challenging.
Mm-hmm.
But it's possible.
Are you a person who can think and write when there's noise around, or do you need a quiet environment?
That's a really good point, Chris. Because if you're looking for silence, don't go to Asia. People have this romantic idea that Asia is really quiet, but it's not. I mean, you have a lot of motorcycles going around, and I don't know why they don't have electric scooters there, but a lot of cars, boats, fishing boats, which are also, they have a really loud engine. And one night, I was getting a massage, and next door there was a karaoke. And I mean, the doors are really thin in Thailand, so whether it was open or closed, you were just live in there in this karaoke show. So
it really helps with meditation.
yeah, sometimes it's frustrating because I'm always looking for a quiet place. Sometimes it's hard to find. Yes.
Great. So, Lydia, thank you so much for sharing your stories with you. I'm curious, what's next for you?
I'm experimenting a lot. So the publishing house was one experiment, and I'm going, probably by the end of the year, I'm going to close it down because I'm right now, I feel like I need to focus more on my writing, on my blog, on writing for media, and also speaking. I'm getting more and more speaking engagements. So I want to do this, and then I've started studying psychology. I may take a break now to focus on the writing because I feel that I need to use the momentum right now. So it's quite open. I'm also going to try out some comedy because I love comedy and I watch a lot of comedy online. So I just want to try it out. And there is a course in Berlin, a class that I'd like to take.
That's, of course, very unusual for any freelancer, to spend time watching comedy on the
sofa. So you're one of those people as well.
I have a feeling, I see all of this coming together because you could take your gaming experience, put out a game that's you play on the computer, on the office computer.
Yeah.
When you're wasting your time in a meeting, and you can use it as a subversive element to entertain people and do psychological research on the same time.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good one.
And that could be your master thesis.
Yeah. Who knows?
How do people waste their time most effectively during working hours?
Yeah. Why not? I mean, I really don't know what's coming, and I feel that I have this luxury of being able to make a living by what I like to do and being free at the same time, being independent. I'm trying to enjoy this as much as I can.
Lydia Krüger was this from Hieronymus in Berlin. She took us to the farm. She took us to Thailand to shovel the elephant shit. And she talked about her career from corporate world to freelance writer. My name is Chris Piak. I'm the host of the Living Unconventionally podcast. If you want to hear more inspiring stories by wonderful people who ditched their 9-to-5 job to chase their passions around the world, subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done so. And next Monday, you will hear us again with a new episode. Bye-bye.